Alright, so here we are going first, and our hand is actually kind of interesting here, due to the fact that we're playing that we have SnowiKs, Chandelier, and Ariana, and for some reason, Ariana resolves. I'm immediately going to fire the Kuklok, to which it will be met with a Bestial, and I'm like, that's fine, the Kuklok is not necessary. It's much better that I have something like SnowiKs or Chandelier in our rotation. So we're going to set 2 off of this, and we do get to activate here, so we're going to go for the Big Welcome, bouncing back the Ariana, activate effect, activate effect, activate effect. We're going to pop a card in the hand, and let's see what we can snipe here. Snake Eye Ash, love to see it. We're going to reset the Big Welcome, and then go into Unchained. Yama is going to go for the Sharvara. Sharvara is going to pop the set Welcome. Welcome is then, we're now going to go into Unchained Soul of Rage. We're just going to pass on this. This may not seem like a lot, but it actually is quite a bit, and I'll explain why. First and foremost, Escape. This inherently, alongside Yama in Grave and Rage on field, is 3 removals. It's 1 with this, it's 1 with this, and it's the SP that we have to summon on top of it. And if they activate a thing in response to any of our other cards, we can also then SP. So it's kind of 4. It's mostly 3, but it's kind of 4. It's really, really powerful and quite impressive. So that's the first one, and then of course you know what Big Welcome does. My opponent is going to reveal that they also had Oak, so me popping the Ash was just not good. Oops. Happens. Anyway, out comes all of their full combo. Out comes the Poplar. Poplar effect is going to grab up the OSS, and me seeing OSS, I go, they don't have a target. There's like no shot they have a target here. If they do have a target, that's crazy. But also, that's crazy. Anyway, they're going to go for the Link Karibo here. They're then going to put the Poplar into the back row. And here I have a big think, because I have the way, I have, as I mentioned, 3 removal spells here. So I'm thinking, okay, how do I remove everything from the field? Now, I do a bit of a goof, but I do actually start with the Big Welcome here, because it's actually useful that I do this. They do Ash it, which ends up not doing what I think they thought it would do, because Arias is in the grave, and we do have the Ariana in hand, which means we can just grab the Lady, which I was going to do anyway. Now, if you're wondering why I was grabbing Lady instead of Lovely or something else along those lines, simply put, Lady here gets to chain to the Escape, so we just get extra advantage from doing this, so there you go. We're going to pop the Ash. This is a mistake. Should pop the Oak here, and I'll explain it in a second. Anyway, we pop. We also get to set. We set Destructive. We go for the Yama as Chainlink 1, the Rage targeting Sharvara as Chainlink 2. Chainlink 3 is the SnowiKs to special summon itself, and Chainlink 4 is Welcome Lab. So Welcome Lab is going to reset itself. We're going to special summon the SnowiKs. We're going to add the Sharvara back to the hand, and then we're going to re-special summon the Rage. Rage is then going to link off the Link Karibo. This is where it's a mistake. Notably, this card in particular says during your opponent's main phase, you can target a face-up special summon monster and link summon into a Dark Link monster. So, I'm stupid, and forgot Oak was not specialed. Oak was, in fact, the one that was normaled. So my bad. I should have popped the Oak with the field, or with the trap card, and then used the other effect to get rid of the Snake Eye Ash, and then use this to get rid of Druid Worm. That would have been the best option. I don't do that. I target the Oak here, but it more or less does the same thing. If you're wondering why I'm doing this the way that I do, actually, this may have turned out better for me, all things considered, because we just get to, like, tag out the Druid Worm. I guess it's not better, but, like, it's equal. Now, if you're wondering why I do this the way that I did, is because Flomberg is a card that does exist that I don't want my opponent to get to, which is why I interact here in particular. They've already used their normal summon. We know the OSS is in hand. There is a chance that they have like a Diabell Star or something along those lines in which they could continue to play the game, but at that point, there's not a whole lot more that I could do, even with the cards that I have. Like, there's not a ton that my cards do to interact with like the Azamina line. So if they have Diabell Star, hopefully I don't die. That's like the big thing. And then I can like play the game with these, maybe. But that's kind of it. So overall, that's more or less what I'm trying to do. Just remove the field here. And my opponent concedes there. So cool. Yeah, that OSS just wasn't doing anything. They never got to Flomberg. Pretty good. What if Labrynth was a combo deck? Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, we're taking a look at Labrynth once again with Fiendsmith, and that is because I've changed a few things. Most notably, I have made it more of a hybrid deck, utilizing the Labrynth stuff to kind of pivot into two other strategies, that of the Fiendsmith, obviously, and Unchained, or more specifically the weird like Unchained combo that you're able to do with this. And the reason for this is twofold. One, if your opponent doesn't have the Maxi, you get to do a lot more, which is very nice. And two, if they do have Maxi, you still have access, or Fualos as well, you still have access to the Labrynth stuff that still does what it does best. And that's pretty much it. Now, not much has actually changed from the last time we took a look at this deck, except for the fact that I took out I took out Dogmatic Punishment in change for the Unchained stuff. So we are adding the Sharvara and the Escape. Pretty much everything else in the main deck is the same, but I'm still going to go over it card for card, just to give you an explanation for the cards. Starting off with the Labrynth stuff, it's pretty simple. The 2 apiece of SnowiKs and Chandelier, as well as the 1 Kuklok. Then we're playing 3 Ariana, 2 Arius. Arius could be potentially bumped up to 3. The reason we're only playing 2, or why we're playing 2 in particular, is because this is also one of the ways that we can interact with our opponent going second. We can set something like a Daruma, we can set something like a Dimensional Barrier, even setting things like a Trap Trick or a Big Welcome can sometimes be helpful. So all of that is very nice and allows us to kind of do an additional thing, which is again not bad. So this is kind of like a pseudo hand trap. However, with that being said, it's also not great unless you pair it with, you know, some of the bigger board wipes going second. Then, of course, we're playing the 1 Lovely and the 2 Lady. Only 2 as well, for similar reasons. It's kind of okay. You can search it, so you don't need to see it all the time. And yeah, that's pretty much it. As for the traps, of course, we're playing the 2 Welcome and the 3 Big Welcome, and then the 1 Lab. And that's it for the Labrynth cards. As for the rest, we're playing the Fiendsmith Engine, we're playing 2 Engraver, the 1 Lurie, and 3 Tract. We want to see the Fiendsmith stuff pretty much as possible, so of course playing the 3 Tract does make sense. Yes, you could cut this down for additional traps or additional Labrynth cards or what have you, but I think it is better just to see the Fiendsmith Engine just as much as possible. And then that is pretty much it. We're also playing the 1 Sharvara as well as the 1 Escape. And the rest is non-engine. We're only playing 2 hand traps, technically, because Imperm is technically also a hand trap. But we're playing the 2 Maxi, the 2 Nibiru, and then 3 Infip. And that's it for, like, designated going second cards. Infip's only kind of a designated going second card in this deck, because it's just as good going first as it is going second, just due to the nature of the deck. But the reason we're playing these in particular is because they are basically stop cards. They're basically stop playing the game, please and thank you. Yes, we could be playing Fualos. What I don't like about Fualos is that it just doesn't do anything for me. Maxi I can activate on my turn, I can activate it on my opponent's turn. It's pretty nice. Same thing with Nibiru. Nibiru also has the ability to be pitched for a SnowiKs or a Chandelier in order to, you can activate it and then pitch it to the graveyard, and then it just tributes the field and doesn't special summon a monster, which plays around Maxi, which is kind of cool. And then on top of that, if you were to like Destructive Daruma and flip everything face down, you could also then nib after the fact, and none of your cards would, or none of the face down cards would go to the grave. So there's that. There's incidental synergies as well, but it also is something that doesn't lose if I activate, or if like I have a card on field. So there's that. That's pretty much it. And then the other traps, 2-Dimensional Barrier, 2 Trap Trick, the 3 apiece of the Destructive Daruma, and that's it. We have no other traps. It's pretty light in terms of traps for a trap-centric deck. But that's pretty much it. There's the extra deck. We have the Fiendsmith, Lacrima, the Desiree, the 2 Requiem, the Sequence, and of course the Moon. That's it for the Fiendsmith. We're playing 2 Chaos Angel. I didn't really summon it all that often. This could be a myriad of other cards as well. You could potentially play a second Desiree. You could potentially play a second Sequence. You could play more Unchained cards. You could play another Muckracker. There's a bunch of stuff that you could do, but this isn't a terrible option, all things considered. And then we're, of course, playing the Unchained cards. I'm playing the full suite of Unchained cards, and they have been extremely useful across the board. That being the Unchained Soul of Rage, the Yama, the Anguish, and the Abomination. All of which have been very useful for various different purposes, which you will see in the replays. Then, of course, we have one SP Little Knight and one Goddess, Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. And this one never came up as well. Same thing with the Chaos Angels. But I don't think they're bad. They're just like, they never happened to come up. You could potentially change these out for other cards if you want to, but yeah, these could be like Muckrackers or what have you. I don't think Underworld Goddess is bad though. And that's pretty much it. Let's hop into the replays and show you how this deck performs. Alright, so here we are going first, and that is full Labrynth combo as well as the Fiendsmith combo. We're going to start off here with the Engraver and see if this just baits out like an Ash Blossom or something along those lines. Now we're going to go for the the Arius in order to go into the Ariana. We're going to set the Big Welcome so that we can play around Imperm. That's why we did that the way that we did. We're just going to grab up Lady here, and now we're going to go for the Fiendsmith combo. Out comes Lurie. We're going to activate the effect of the Lurie, which will be met by Max Seed. Yeah. This is also why I did this way. I'm almost certain they had a Max Seed. So we're going to special summon both of our monsters here, and then just give them the one draw, and go for the Lady here. Pitching Diabellstar. How very interesting. Okay, well, we're going to set our Destructive Daruma, not Destructive Daruma, our Big Welcome, but hey, they Maxi me, I'm going to Maxi them. Now, first things first, we are going to set the Destructive Daruma, and then we're going to add back the Lurie to our hand, and go for the Ariana to grab Kuklok here. I'm going to snipe another card out of their hand. Who's the called by? Well, it'd be a shame if I activated my own Maxi. Comedy. Good game. Alright, here we are, once again, going first. Let's see what we can do. We're going to start off here with the Kuklok, which allows us to then utilize the SnowiKs, pitching Lady to grab Big Welcome and special summon itself back. Here we can go for Big Welcome to then reborn our Lovely, which will be met promptly with an Effect Veiler. It basically did the same thing. However, now we can pivot into Moon, which allows us to do the Fiendsmith stuff. And since we haven't used our normal, we can go into Engraver, normal summon Kuklok, and then go for Sequence. We could have also technically pitched the Arius in order to special summon the Kuklok if we had another normal summon that we wanted, or something along those lines, or if we had used our normal. So that's something of note as well, which is pretty cool. We're then going to go into the Lacrima. Lacrima is going to then add back to the hand the Engraver. And the reason we're doing this is because the line that I'm going for does not end on Desiree, but instead ends on Yama, Muckracker, and a bunch more traps. Well, 2 more traps, technically. So we're going to do that instead. We're going to grab Tract, and then it goes for the Lurie. Lurie is going to pitch itself to the grave to then, sorry, not pitch itself, but is going to be pitched to the graveyard in order to grab the Yama. Yama is then going to activate its effect, as well as the Lacrima, chain blocking, burning, and grabbing up the Sharvara. Now we can go for the Engraver, which we're going to pop with the Sharvara, just to get the Sharvara onto the field. Then we can link those off into the Muckracker. You might be wondering why we're doing this, because I specifically want to pitch Arius to the grave for the Muckracker. So that's why we're doing that. We could have potentially just linked off and pitched Sharvara from hand, but I do want Arius in grave in particular. Here we can then reborn our Lovely, reset the monster, the Big Welcome, link off into the Unchained Soul of Rage, which we've already explained, and yeah, go from there. Out comes the Fenris. We're going to pop that immediately. I'm just not going to deal with that. Out comes the Yama. We're going to then also activate the effect of our other cards in grave, which will be met by, called by, of course. Now, however, I did chain this in a way that SnowiKs is the last in the chain, which means, since my opponent chained to that, I get to resolve with with Arius. So Arius also hits the field. But they do chain, negate the Unchained Soul of Rage, which means we can't summon it with Yama, but that's not that big of a deal because we just summoned little Lovely anyway. Lovely is also going to, we do end up going for the Big Welcome. Big Welcome to special summon the Ariana to then special summon Lady or grab Lady, and we get to pop a card with the Lovely, which we hit Sylvie, which is pretty good, all things considered. They're going to go for the Birth, which of course they have this. They're going to go for Fenris into Unicorn, and then they're going to go to combat and walk over the Lovely. Like, sure, that's fine. We're going to go for the Welcome here. We're also going to go Kuklok and just add it back to hand because reasons. Anyway, I'm going to tribute the Ariana. I shouldn't have done this, but I did it anyway. It's all good. And then they had the second one. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It actually is because, all things considered, they can go for the LZ here, However, it's not really going to do a whole lot. They're going to go for the Synchro 6, and then they're going to go and special summon LZ. And this one we do have to interact with. So we're going to go for the Trap Trick here, and then Chain as well, the Lady, which just sets Dimensional Barrier. It's not going to matter too much. But we do specifically set Destructive Daruma, which flips everything face down, and basically prevents them from playing the game. And at this point, the game is pretty much over. We have Engraver Engrave. We draw the Big Welcome, which is great. We have the Coup Clock in hand. So yeah, at this point, we just shuffle back, go into the Engraver line, and then just clear the field, and at that point the game is pretty much sealed for us, and there you go. Good game. Alright, we're back with the deck, and honestly, I was having quite a slump with the previous decks that I was playing. I was playing, like, Fire King Snake Eye, and Snake Eye Azamina, and a bunch of other decks like that are technically top tier, or more specifically, like, better decks, meta decks in the current metagame. And Labrynth just did so much better for me. Now, one of the reasons is because obviously I'm significantly better at playing Labrynth than I am any of the Snake Eye variants. I just haven't put in the time and effort to really understand and develop that, where I have with Lab. And the second thing is, I really enjoy not immediately dying to Fool Loss or Maxi. It's so very nice to have my opponent activate a Fool Loss and me being like, you got it, here's 4 set cards. Pop off, King. So there's a bunch of stuff like that that have been really, really helpful, and just allowing me to basically be in almost every single one of the games. Not always the case. Sometimes I'll lose the coin flip, go second, and then my opponent will just have full combo, and I drew nothing. So I just concede, because there's not a whole lot that I can do there. But that doesn't happen too often. Oftentimes I do have something in the way of an interaction. I can use the Arius in order to do something. I have a Nibiru, I have a Maxi, I have something along those lines. There's generally something that I can do. Not always, but generally something. And that's pretty nice. So, all in all, a very fun deck, and having the ability to do that extra steps of the combo and not just end on Desiree or something along those lines is very, very nice. That's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you guys did indeed enjoy. If you did, like us very much. So appreciate it, and remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye. Shout out to the Frost Guard, my members. Thank you guys so much for the support, and I hope you enjoy the content.